Hey, I'm back. While I've been busy with a bunch of other stuff in my personal life, I'm finally in a place I feel I can make videos again. And more precisely, at a level I feel I can be satisfied with. Here's to hoping that what I put out is worthy and leads to a sustainable return. On this episode of Quick Previews, reviews that get straight to the point, I'll be talking about the Steam release of Ys: The Oath in Felghana. Oath in Felghana is an expansive remake of Ys 3, which was originally released in the 80s on the PC 8801 and the PC 9801. It had a Super NES release, which was remade for the PS2 in 2005. All of the previous releases, except for the Steam PSP release, were 2D side-scrollers, whereas this game is fully 3D. Ys is a series of 2D and 3D action RPG adventure games, with emphasis on the action-adventure aspect. In Oath in Felghana, you take control of Adol Kristen, an adventure-seeking young man who wields a sword and a shield. You walk, run, and jump around in a 3D environment in a region that consists of a base town that you'll often come back to in order to buy items, enhance your equipment, buy new equipment, and, generally speaking, progress through the story. And then you have your handful of dungeons. About 5 or 6 in the game. I'll be sure to put up a picture of the map at some point around this time. The clear formula here is hang around town, talk to the people in town, then get sent to one of the dungeons for a task because a new element in the story just emerged. In these dungeons, you'll have many riddles and puzzles to solve, platforming to do, and enemies to beat. The puzzles and the riddles really aren't that hard to solve. In fact, it's pretty rudimentary, but it gets the job done. And there's a good wide variety of the enemies that you'll have to beat here. Usually your combo is about a 5-hit combo. You can also do aerial attacks. You can combine your attacks with magic as well. In addition, each boss tends to have at least 2 bosses, sometimes more. This core gameplay loop, while pretty simple, I found it to be quite fun. There's also a small amount of non-essential rewarding backtracking in the game, which can lead you to the main reward for it is just more items, but it's still fine. The game is really short, and for me, I kind of took my time with this playthrough, but it took me just under 12 hours, which is still way more than what's needed. I really took my time, like I said before, and I did a little bit of grinding as well, but not too much though. It's a very quick adventure, all things considered, but still a very fun one from a gameplay perspective. The basic outline of the story is that Adol and Dogi, Adol's longtime friend, stop by in Felghana, which is also Dogi's hometown. Problems quickly arise in the region, and it's up to Adol, solely Adol actually, to resolve all of the problems and uncover the truth behind what's really happening. I found the story, albeit short, quite enjoyable with a bittersweet ending, with some plot twists along the way that, while not fully developed due to the understandably short nature of the game's plot, were still in good taste in my opinion and were still relatively entertaining enough. The small roster of characters were entertaining and intriguing enough to carry the story, especially one of this length, and my absolute favorite of the bunch was Chester. The soundtrack here is great, with a good selection of primarily rock music for the dungeons and the routes between areas. The player has the option to switch between the 3 different versions, which, excuse me for the somewhat shorthanded descriptions, but in my opinion the options basically are the 8-bit, which is the PC 8801 option, 16-bit, which I believe is something like X86K, which is something equivalent to like a SNES or maybe even a Game Boy Advance, but Game Boy Advance is significantly worse than the SNES in terms of sound, or the modern version, which is just modern, instrumentals and such. All 3, in my opinion, can be pretty good. I actually liked the 16-bit version the best, and when I actually started using these options, I pretty much stuck with the 16-bit option. The voice acting in this game is also pretty good. In my opinion, at least, the performances here are top-notch, especially when you consider the budget and the scale of the game. The graphics, while not too impressive, they are pretty to look at, and the character portraits are pretty neat too. In conclusion, Ys: The Oath in Felghana is a fantastic relatively short game that offers a great deal of fun for anyone who likes fast-paced action and boss battles that can entertain and challenge you, especially that last part. One note actually, if you want to have a really tough time, whenever you're going through the dungeons, you'll usually collect gold, and occasionally you'll collect Ravel, which is needed to enhance your equipment. If you want to have a tough time with the bosses, don't enhance your equipment at all, because the difference between enhancing your equipment and not enhancing your equipment is huge. I'm just putting that out there. It could definitely add to the difficulty. And that's before you make it even harder on yourself by going into the hard mode or above. The game is also relatively accommodating with an easy difficulty mode and the ability to even turn off platforming, which I believe is called no fall mode, for those who want a more casual experience. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Quick Previews. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and look forward to my next video.